Hey everybody, working from the home office today, getting ready for our internal kickoff there next week. So looking forward to that, getting some presentation stuff together. But anyway, today I wanted to go through some GDU accumulation stuff with you. Most folks realize that we've been a little bit behind on GDUs because of the relatively lower temperatures, the cooler temperatures that we've experienced. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So hopefully this comes through all right on my phone here. Anyway, this is weather data from the Northwest Agricultural Research Station there with Ohio State. This is located up in Northwest Ohio around the Custer area. And they do a great job in the various research stations that they have of tracking historical GDU accumulation. So you can go to it. It's weather.cfaes.osu.edu, and you can look up the weather stations that are most close to your area. Anyway, this is the one that I use, so let's take a look at it. So we, this year in 2025, are this purple line right here. I did my math yesterday on the 16th, based upon weather data from the 16th. And so by the 16th, we had accumulated 916. That was 103 behind the high of 2021 and 103 actually above the low of 2020. Interestingly enough, with the cool weather that we've had, you would think that we would be well behind for the year from a year-to-date perspective. And that's not really the case. We are just about right in the middle of the 5-year average. However, right through this time period in April, it was actually quite a bit warmer than normal. We're towards the upper echelon of heat units there in mid-early April. And it really wasn't until actually May started that we saw things start to cool off. So if you look right here, my cursor is right at May 1st. You can see we had a nice little uptick there towards the middle to end of April, but things have really flattened out a little bit. We have been falling behind the other lines here in this graph outside of this little warm spell that we had there middle of May. And so if you look at the data from just May 1st on, so May 1st through June 16th, a couple days ago when I ran this, it was pretty interesting, really. Although we are middle of the road for GDU accumulation year to date, looking in just that time frame from May 1st to June 16th, we are at the bottom of the 5-year average. So the high is, again, that it'll be 2021, the 2021 year, and there were 720 GDUs that were accumulated during that same time frame, May 1st through June 16th. If you look at the low, that would have been the year 2020. There was 659 GDUs accumulated between that May 1st and June 16th timeframe. And this year we have accumulated 600. So we're 59 behind the other lowest accumulation throughout that time period and 120 behind the highest accumulation in that time period. So we definitely are behind on GDU accumulation for really the majority of the crop that got planted. Yes, there were some early planted crops in April that have benefited from some of that early heat, but really the vast majority of our crop got planted in May and later, and it hasn't captured those same level of GDUs. So from here on out, we do need to get some heat so we can get this crop mature and get it to the point where maybe we don't have 30% corn this fall. So here's the next thing. Currently, there's some pretty severe storms pushing across Indiana. We are expected to get some here tonight in Ohio. I got to be careful with how I frame this up because there's a lot of people not wanting any more rain, and I get that. But look at the forecast for next week. Next week is supposed to be a scorcher with heat indexes well into the hundreds, real temperatures being that 95 plus range. That's going to be hard on crops. A lot of these late planted crops, these late May, early June planted crops, they're nearing that V5 time frame. I just went and looked at mine here a little bit ago, planted May 25th. It's at V4 right now. So yeah, next week with all the heat, it's going to hit that really important V5 time frame. Having some soil moisture in the ground is not a bad thing when it's 95 plus out there. Corn likes heat, but that extreme heat is really hard on it. So we don't want to compound, little corn doesn't have a whole lot of root system, can't reach down real deep and get that deep water down the soil profile. It needs that water to be closer to the top of the soil profile. So maybe having a little bit of rain will help us with that extreme heat next week. Could be looking for a silver lining, perhaps. Maybe being a little bit more of an optimist than a realist here, especially as people are currently dealing with flooding in various areas of my geography. So keep it in mind with a grain of salt. But yeah, having some soil moisture next week won't be a bad thing when it feels like 100 plus out there. Hope everyone gets through the storms tonight all right. If you have any questions, let me know. If you do wind up with a hail event or a wind event or something like that, and you're concerned about your crop, hit me up. I might come out, take a look, send me pictures, whatever. We'll figure something out. Other than that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you again on the next one.